Nice
How
to
you doing,
see you.
Hey, Mark.
Only nice people could bring this project to life, and the genesis of this was, well, Fred Rogers and then you.
Right.
How did you feel when you got the word that it had been greenlit, that your words were going to jump off that page and onto a movie screen?
I was surprised. I mean, but I was sort of part of it. I mean, they in 2014, I got approached by the screenwriters. In 2018, Tom Hanks was cast, and when Tom was cast, it sort of changed everything because you knew that all of a sudden that this was going to have a wider reach.
Sure.
And the fact that it does have a wider reach. I mean, you don't know what it's going to be like, but the fact that I'm sitting here talking to you and talking to people about Fred's message, is one of the great sort of gifts of my life.
I'd love to know that everything we see in this movie is true, and I believe from people I've talked to that it is. Is it true? Do you feel like Fred specifically selected you because he thought maybe there was some work that could be done?
Yeah, I do. I mean, there's some things that are different in the movie in between my life. Like I never got into a fist fight with my dad.
Okay.
So,
all right.
those kinds of things. But in terms of like the nature of Fred's outreach to me, the movie is extremely accurate. I'm not the only one that he did this to, but I am definitely one of the ones that he saw maybe something in. I always look at it as that he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself.
Sure.
And from the moment I met him till, when he died in 2003, that was, the consistent part of our friendship.
I believe in you from what I know from your writing and, of course, the way it's depicted in the movie, that your heart is enormous. You had to weep when you saw Tom Hanks transform into Fred Rogers.
Yeah, the experience of watching the movie for the first time, I mean, I stumbled out of that movie theater and sat down on a park bench and, was weepy and exhausted and relieved and exhilarated, all of those things. It was an incredibly emotional experience, and I have to say that I've seen it 2 times since, and every single time it's hit me pretty hard.
So how can you select any one of Fred Rogers' ways and things that Fred Rogers instilled in all of us, since we can remember? But if you could pick three Fred Rogers-isms that you take with you each and every day.
Fred Rogers-isms in terms of what he said?
Sure.
Okay, so
things that you live.
Sure. I mean, you are special. I mean, that is that's become like his trademark, and people look at that as so simple. But it really, if you really get down into it, it was quite a serious and not something just for children. The other one was I like you. Once again, it was one of those things where, I mean, what does that really mean? Fred didn't say something just to say it. So what was he really getting at? And then you were a child once too. That is one of those things that I think that Fred would extend to. He did extend to everybody he met, and I think that he would continue extending it to everyone he met, even in today's more difficult world. So.
Yeah, I love that last one. Even in your writing, you bring up that Fred had been commissioned to write something for ophthalmologists, and that was pretty much summed up the entire chapter.
Yeah. You were a child once too. I mean, think of just the power of that. And that's one of the things that I like to think about Fred, is that he was a very kind man and he was a nice man, but he was also a powerful man because of those beliefs and statements.
Yeah, there's a lot of Fred Rogers in you too.
Yeah, okay.
So
well,
good to see you. Thanks so much for your time.
Okay.